There. Oh.
Hi.
There. I think that's better. How is everyone? Happy Sunday.
I'm awake, I promise.
Are you?
Barely.
Barely? And what time did you wake up today?
A little after 5. Thanks to the pups as they're going back to sleep.
Right? Yeah, they're taking a nap. So I'm going to give it just a couple minutes for everybody to come in. As you're coming in, please make sure you hit that thumbs up, y'all. It really helps the channel. And then this is just a touch base with our no spend January or low spend January. We're already week 3. Y'all, we only have one more week left to get through this. So if you feel like it's been a struggle for you, let me know. I want to know, how are you feeling at this point when it comes to the no or low spend? Like how is it going for you? How are you feeling with it? How are you feeling with it?
Actually, it's been a lot easier than I actually expected. I thought it was not as daunting as I was actually figuring it was going to be. Because I don't really need anything. We're really stocked on stuff. I'm like, occasionally there's a couple of things we'll need to get, but that's why I like, honestly, that we changed it to low spend.
Well, I have.
For me, there's always a loophole.
Yeah. Well, I still feel like it is no spend. We'd say low spend because, like, if we're at the grocery store, we see a good deal on something we know we'll eventually use, like the meat or whatever on sale, then we are getting it. So I'm drinking my coffee. What are you drinking?
Strawberry almond tea.
Ooh. A strawberry? I didn't know they had a strawberry.
That's what the package said.
Oh, okay.
I could have sworn that's what it said.
I did not know that. I see Brenda is here and she goes, hello, happy Sunday. Hey, Brenda. And she goes, Ketopalooza tickets.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Watermelon.
Okay, that's what I thought.
Like, that didn't taste like strawberry, though.
We have a whole box of watermelon. So is that your goal, Brenda, is Ketopalooza tickets? Or did you just buy them and you're like, oof, that was a hit? Let me know.
That is.
Tweety Q Cat's here. She goes, hey, all of you thrifty people of the Horde, are you ready to save some money today? Yes, I love saving money. Also, I'm curious who else has been using Rocket Money. And I'm finding more little details with it. I didn't know that I can also like hook it up to my HISA account. And because it has a section where not only does it show like your whole income and all of your bills, but then it shows all of my savings. So like our different savings accounts. And now I don't know if you can hook up your 401k as well. I didn't look into that far, but I was just kind of like, oh, it's kind of nice. Instead of having to log into the different accounts, I could just look at it all right there. And Tweet TQ Cat said she was in the middle of watching your MS journey. And she'll finish after this. Well, thanks for that. And I see Gigi's here. Hey, Gigi. Howdy. She said, good afternoon. And Patty is here. She goes, hey, how's the internet? Is it still staying connected, Patty? And I'm glad that we met the time parameters you put in place. TQ Cat said, I bet he can't wait to be done with this no spend month.
Well, it's just kind of weird, too, because I had kind of some plans for her birthday. She said, no, we have to postpone them. So this kind of threw things off a little bit. But other than that, I don't have anything I really need to want to buy either. So
need to want to buy?
Right.
Well, so do you want to extend this on, or are you like, okay, no?
Kinda. I guess it's like I said with my caveats, because we have been spending on buying stuff that we don't need. Like when we went 2 trips to Aldi yesterday, we didn't need the pork belly.
No, but I do have a plan for the pork belly.
Yeah.
And for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Is really why I wanted it, because I was like, I could stick it in the freezer because it was pre-sliced. So if you have an Aldi near you, they have pre-sliced pork belly for $3.47 a pound.
We were surprised the the cashier when we got it. She's like, "Oh, they have this?"
Not anymore because I bought all they had. But yeah, one of our locations, they already were out of it. The other one I went to, they only had 2 packages left. So, and it does say on their weekly ad, it was limited supplies. Now, there was a couple other Aldi's we could have went to, but I was like, no, I'm not going to go and do that. But I was
all
like,
the money we saved, we would have wasted in gas.
Right. Because that is about $2 cheaper per pound versus like HEB's price for pork belly. So I was glad to get that and know that, okay, I've already got that part that I'll need for Valentine's Day. And then, truthfully, that was 2 packages. Each one were about a pound. So I only need one of them for that night. The
like
other
I told
one,
you, it's a his and hers set. But that's fine.
Oh, that tastes so good, y'all. Brenda said early bird tickets for Ketopalooza go on sale this week. Oh, goodness.
So I think wouldn't you do it when you do the early bird? You actually get them at a slight discount.
Yeah. Marianne said, good afternoon. Hey, she said KPL tickets go on sale Thursday or Friday. Oh, goodness, y'all. Goodness. Yeah, that's something. So I guess it's kind of like if you are doing no spend, are you okay purchasing those tickets this week, about a week before no spend is over, or are you going to roll the dice and wait a week until February 1st? Right. I'm just curious. What's your thoughts on that? Patty said the internet is in and out still, but working for the moment. Apparently the plastic tips they use on the lines do not like all the stupid cold weather. That's the problem. Oh, gosh. You would think they would figure out a better... I mean, Oklahoma gets cold, so they should have that planned out a little better. Brenda said, my brain has gone wild with thoughts of what I could do with the money I can save from this less spending.
Oh, nice.
I love that. And I was going to just kind of go over like goals. I was listening to a new book and listening to other channels. And when it comes to finances, having a goal or goals is very important. Now, I recently listened to the audiobook of 12-Week Year. Let me know if anybody has read or listened to that book. But I like the idea of it. Instead of saying, well, this year I'm going to do XYZ, instead you make a 12-week plan. So this really comes down to setting those goals and looking at realistic goals and being like, okay, I've got 12 weeks and choose anywhere from 1 goal up to 3 goals, but no more than that. So let's say I have 2 main goals this 12-week period. So I started back on the first week of January. So my first one is to save enough money to pay our taxes for the coming year, and then just keep that in the HISA account until it's due in December. So that's my number 1 goal. And I'm actually halfway there.
Nice.
So already not even the end of January, and I'm halfway to that goal. And then my second goal is gut health. So those are like the overall goals, but then you want to do actionable steps. Okay, what can I do to reach having that tax money set aside by the end of the 12 weeks? Like, I'm not going to give it all year to save up that money. I want to make sure that in 12 weeks time, so the end of March, I have that money saved. So what are steps that I can take to do that? And reviewing those goal steps on a daily basis so that my mind and my eyes stay on the prize. So then that helps when we're coming up with something like, oh, I really want XYZ, whatever it is. Maybe I really want, some Bath and Body Works candles because they're on sale right now. Well, it's like, but couldn't I do better by saving? I mean, let's face it, 3 candles, you're easily looking at $50. Saving that $50 towards paying the taxes?
Because really, to the candles, you're burning money then.
Oh, God.
I'm just saying.
And so just thinking of that is like, okay, will that impact my goal by the end of this 12 weeks. And so looking at those goals and then thinking, okay, what are other ways? Not only making the goal of automatically saving every paycheck to reach that goal, but are there some additional things I could do? Like maybe it could be putting out more YouTube videos so we get a little bit more money from that. Or maybe it is like taking extra if my job offers any overtime, working that overtime to help reach that goal within the 12 weeks. Or looking over my overall budget and saying, you know what, I could save cost here and there to reach that goal. Let me know y'all's goals for your no spend or just in general. What is your financial goal that you want to set? And have you figured out how you can meet that goal? TweetyQ Cat said, maybe this little financial exercise we're doing will help people realize their true spending habits. It can change those habits where needed. I 100% agree, because I really feel like the best thing we could do. So even if you don't want to participate in the no spend or low spend, just acknowledging and looking at where are my finances going. Like, I don't want to do no spend because, you know, I still want to buy when I want to buy, when I want to buy it. But maybe just having that where you look at, okay, what am I spending my money on? Oh, wow, I didn't know I had that extra subscription there that I was going to get charged. Or, oh, wow, I really do go and get coffee 4 or 5 times a week. Like, I didn't realize that about. And not saying that you need to stop it, but just becoming more aware of what you're doing can then help you decide, okay, maybe I need to do this instead and save a little there.
That's what I want to do in February.
Oh.
Loosen the reins a little bit and go to Dutch more often.
Brenda said, sneaky, going to put on cards so won't pay until next month, right? I mean, that's a loop, I guess, right?
That's what I told her I wanted to do, is buy a bunch of gift cards in advance and then just use the gift cards because it's already paid for. She said, no, that doesn't work. Cheater.
I know. You were being a cheater. Patty said, I'll be continuing a definite low spend in the grocery department for February. That's awesome.
That's my biggest hurdle, honestly.
Yeah.
Because as soon as I go to the grocery store, the first thing I do is go check out all the discount meat and cheeses. Like, almost religiously, I start sending pictures of it to her to ask her if it's a good enough deal.
Mm-hmm. And honestly, lately, the Kroger discount meat, a lot of it has not been that cheap. Like, we saw a roast for $19. I was like, that's not a discount to me. I mean, it was, I think, maybe 4-pound roast, but to me, that's not a huge discount.
This is a Wagyu, maybe, but
I know, but it might have been a Nolan Ryan one, and that might have been why it was pricier. Right, but I was just like, $19. Like, to me, a discount, I want it to be under $10. Yeah. I mean, but I'm just really cheap like that, so I'd be like, no.
I sent her I think the other day I sent her 32 pictures, and then I think we got getting 2 of them.
Yeah, because I was like, no. Okay, that one's a decent deal, and then plus I think it does help us because right now our freezers are pretty full, so it's kind of like, no, we don't need that for sure, and it's not at a price that I feel is let's get it anyways.
Because my thing is, if it's on sale, that's the time you buy it. But again, we have to have room for it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I told you, I went in there the other day. We're slowly making room.
Yeah, slowly. But
you said too, you saw some of the bacon. You said it wasn't marked down enough.
Yeah, like the bacon was still averaged out to like $4.50 a pound, and I'm like, to me, that's just not
a deal.
A good deal. I mean, it's a deal, but for the discount, to me, that's like about to get tossed. To me, it's not discount price.
Right.
But with that said, the pork chops we got on the clearance.
Mm-hmm.
Did you already cook those?
Yeah, I cooked those this morning.
Nice. And how was it?
I haven't eaten them yet. Those are my lunch.
Okay.
That's my lunch.
Marianne said, I'm going to buy my ticket. Early bird will save money.
Yes.
And I already have my hotel reservation. That's true. That is one thing to look at.
If you already have the hotel.
Is, well, if I'm going to buy the ticket, even though, I'm going to buy it in the month of January, but waiting a week will cost me an extra $100, then definitely save money. Patty said, why I didn't open a HISA before now? No clue. So much better interest rates. And that's the good thing with the HISA. You're not locked into what the interest rate is because your bank, it will just adjust the interest rate to whatever it currently is. So, like, sadly, right now it's still pretty good interest rates, but, if the Feds, it's projected the Feds are no longer going to raise the rates. So you might start seeing those rates drop. So the sooner you get into a HISA, then at least you're going to accrue that interest right now until they, eventually they're going to start dropping down the interest rate. So go ahead and at least get it in there for however many months until they drop it down. And they'll do it usually slowly, just like they raised it slowly. I mean, I kind of, working for a bank, I kind of know ahead of time if they're going to make any changes or not, because that's one of the things we talk about every week. So, like, I know right now it's going to stay the same, but.
That's what I'm going to say. I think your job kind of influenced you to do this, because you're seeing, you're working all these accounts for all these folks, helping them with all their stuff. And like, oh, that's how the other half lives. Okay.
Right.
Goals.
It is, because sometimes I'll see someone's account and they'll have, like, I don't know, 10 different CDs with various links on them. And then they have a couple of HISAs. And I'm like, I look at, adding it, and I'm like, wow. And if you're only supposed to put like 10 to 20% of your income into what would be considered a very low risk, but also very low reward. And I'm just like, wow, if they already have a couple million here, imagine what all they're putting in higher risk investments. So I'm just like, so technically goals, right? I'll be like, okay, that's my goal, is one day to have a lot of CDs and being like, okay, look, I've got this all planned out, right? Mm-hmm. And then having different HISAs set up. So I'd like a HISA for taxes. I'd like a HISA for a emergency fund HISA, and then a sink fund HISA, and have those different things set up so that, if something happens, those are more easily accessible. And then eventually I want to also get into investment. In fact, I started looking at different stocks and stuff and starting the research on investing in different companies. So let me know if anybody here does investments. How do you prefer? Because I've heard different things. So like Smart Money Bro, he's really into EFTs and index funds. Are you somebody who prefers to do like that? Or are you someone who's like, no, I like to have full control and pick and choose the companies I invest in? I'm just curious.
Sorry, Sam just ran over to her to headbutt me. He's wanting attention.
Mm-hmm. Twitchy Q Cat said, I got to the part in Heath's video today where you're discussing Abagio generic prices and Good RX. Yes, Good RX shows at less than $40 at Walmart. Awesome. I hope it works out for you.
I don't want to tell everybody thank you to. I know I'm going off script here or off plan. Topic. So many of y'all commented talking about the effects of the aspartame. I actually had to reach out to my cousin. I was curious about, because my grandmother, she used to, I swear, lived on diet sodas, and she passed away with an aneurysm. And I was wondering if that had any effect on, made her sicker.
I mean, yeah, I'm sure that, and her smoking.
Yeah, that too.
That was probably a big impact. But thank you for that, because it's interesting when I go and I put it in Good RX. Like if you go to CVS, it's like $1,000 for the generic, but then it showed Walmart for like $32 or $33. And I was like, well, I do have him contributing to a health savings account. So that would help cover then the prescription. And so I'm like, well, if it really is that, that's my question. I'm like, why is there such a vast disparity between the different places where he could get it? So if Walmart really, if that really is correct, then I mean, that would be such an easy way of doing it. So I have to look into, because I think for a good RX, you have to set up an account with them. And I guess they give you like a little prescription card. And then I guess then your doctor would just send that prescription to Walmart, and then you would go and pick it up. Is that how it sounds that it works?
And then he did finally get back to me, and they okayed me to take the generic.
So that's good. That's good. Patty said, right, the grocery deals need to be actual good deals. And right now, I'm just not seeing that. That is how I feel too, because, you know, like I went to Kroger, Aldi, and Sprouts. I went to Sprouts because I still had a coupon for a free Cleveland Kitchen. And Sprouts actually has a huge variety of Cleveland Kitchen products. So they had like 4 different types of sauerkrauts, and then they had 2 different types of kimchi. And I was like, well, I want to, you know, at Kroger where I could get it a little bit cheaper than Sprouts. But this was a free coupon, and Kroger only has 1. It's just the basic sauerkraut and 1 kimchi. That's all they carry. But at Sprouts, they had all the different varieties. So I used my free coupon at Sprouts, which gave them trouble for some reason. But I got then the red sauerkraut. So, and that stuff is absolutely delicious.
Well, speaking of Sprouts, another little pro tip about saving. I don't know if they're doing it countrywide or whatever, but in our area, if you do not bring your own reusable bags, they charge you, 10, 20 cents a bag.
Yeah. So I thought I had forgot my bag. I was like, I could have sworn I brought it in here. It was hiding under all the stuff, and I was like, no, here's my bag. Because I was like, look, we're just not gonna package this because I ain't gonna pay 10 more cents.
Right.
But so I went there, and then the other good deal I got was on the Kelowna kefir. So again, just watching stuff. I actually have several more $2 off Kelowna coupons. Well, at Sprouts this week, not only did they have the Kelowna on sale for $6.49, so $1 off, in the Sprouts app, they had an additional $1.50 digital coupon. So that would have brought it down to $5, which is a pretty good deal for the Kelowna. But then I also had a $2 off coupon from Kelowna. So I ended up only paying $3.
Nice.
So I look for those kind of deals, and where it comes down to, okay, I don't have to get it this week, so I'm going to wait until there is a good deal on it, right? So you have time. And that's kind of what we did also with the Purnell Smokehouse. Only Kroger carries the smokehouse flavor. And at the one Kroger I went to yesterday morning, I had a tag saying $12.49, but in the app, I could have swore the app it said $10.49, but the big tag said $12.49. And I'm like, well, I'm not, they jumped up the price $2. So I'm like, I'm not going to do that. Well, last night when we went out again, you know, we're crazy. Went out again to Kroger, a different Kroger, and because it was by the HEB or by the Aldi rather that had the pork belly, we went inside that Kroger, which is an older Kroger. And they had it for $10.99, but then when we rung up, it was only $10.49, plus I had a 50-cent coupon. So that, for trying something, I was like, okay, that's really going to be the best deal that we're going to get on it. But other than that, it's just like, yeah, the markdowns and stuff, I'm just not seeing it like we did in December. December had some really good deals. But so far in January, I'm just not seeing those really good deals. So I'm hoping come February. Patty said, I'm fixing to lock in a couple CDs, and we upped what's going into our 401k. Our goals are retirement money and no house payment. I love that. Awesome. Right. That's definitely one of my long-term goals, is to get the house paid off early. I mean, I only have like 10 years left as it is, but hey, if I can even cut that in half and have the house paid off in 5 years, that would be good. The other thing we're going to tackle is our car payments. So we're down. Actually, I started a little countdown on my budget sheet, you know, how many more payments left. And we only have 23 on each of them, 23 payments left.
Wow.
I know. So I'm like getting excited about that because I'm like, okay, I think with all of the savings, projecting out, I'm thinking maybe next January I could pay off one of the cars a year early. And then with the savings of paying off that one vehicle, we could then basically make double payments on the other and get that one paid off like 6 months later. I mean, that's one of the goals. And I just figured, well, then not having a car note, y'all, oh my gosh, that would save us a lot of money every month. So yeah, I'm excited. And then I'm supposed to be getting a raise in February. So depending on the raise amount, I'm definitely going to up my 401k as well. That's always good to do. Patty said, I have a very small stock account with strictly for dividend stocks, but the 401k, IRA, and HISA come first. That's really good that you have a stock account. That's what I was going to look into, is also ones that pay dividend. Like I know Coca-Cola pays, they're considered a king when it comes to dividend payments. So I was like, well, I don't know. I'm still looking at different companies, and I'm thinking of, okay, what companies do we use a lot and where are they? Now, I do have, I just started this year getting my company, my employer stock. So I'm purchasing that. So I get a discount with that. I don't believe that one pays dividends, but at least would be, I'm working there. I might as well be part owner as well. And then he missed the deadline for his job, but come June.
We have an alarm set for the next one.
Yeah. So for June, then I'm going to start having to where he buys his company stock, which is actually the company he works for does pay good dividends and so forth. And it is a really reliable stock. So that's one I would like him to get into.
We're not going anywhere anytime soon. So
right. And then I make sure immediately when he got hired and also when I got hired, immediately do at least the company match in our 401k.
Yes.
I would say that's the minimum where you need to start, is do at least get the company match. Otherwise, you're just throwing away money.
Right.
And then my company is supposed to offer IRAs later this year, so I might be doing that as well. Tiki Cat said, yeah, CVS will show a $22.40 for a Baggio. Walmart must have some special good deal. Well, and I think the generic is called like Tefamundo or something like that.
Telemundo?
And that's
Isn't that the
not Telemundo. It's like TEF.
Uh-huh.
It is what it is. But yeah, isn't that something? Like, how did they get such a good deal? El Strange said, I just carry it out in the cart. I don't buy bags. It can roll around in the back seat. I usually have a ton of bags in my truck, but forget to bring in. Right. That's why when the person was like, oh, do you have a bag? And I was like, I thought I brought one in. And I was just going to tell her, but don't use your bags. Right. No, like I have bags in the trunk. I can put it in when I get out there. I don't want to pay your 10 cents.
Right.
Patty said, yep, Sprout started that in May here. Once I in the wrong vehicle, it didn't have my bags. So I bought 2 bags from them, but they are thicker, good bags now.
Yeah.
However, I put a couple bags in the truck. So if I'm in it again, stopping, I'll have the bags. Right. That's how I feel as well. Like I know we keep like the big bag in my car because it's usually that. But then do you keep any extras in your truck? No, you just make sure you grab them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ours started that too. Their bags, when you pay 10 cents, you're not getting the cheap Walmart bag.
Or
you're getting, right, you're getting, or with a hole in the bottom.
Right.
But it is a really nice thick bag, which makes a perfect garbage bag for like our bathrooms. That's what we use.
Yeah.
We put them in the bathroom trash can. I'm like, well, I might have paid for it, but at least I'll get some use out of it. I'm not just going to take it home and put it in the recycle. Coffee is so good. I hope y'all are enjoying a nice cup of coffee. Brenda said, I prefer to have control of my stocks. Yes, that's awesome. See, that's how I like to research things. I get both sides, right? So the ones that like the EFTs and the index funds, it's because they're like, well, generally it's giving, 5 to 7%. So that's good enough. And then I don't have to do all the work, right? It's, I'm trusting somebody else to do the work for me. And so I could get that. If you're someone who, you just want to know that you're making a good choice, then that's really a good option for you. I'm just the type that I'm like, okay, but why pay where I might only get 5 to 7%, where if I kind of really do research and everything, maybe I could get to something like Warren Buffett where I'm making 20 to 30%. Like I would like that type of return versus, to me, that's worth the work. If I know I can make a higher interest than what an index fund is paying, then it's worth the work to me. Patty said, no car payments have been amazing. I still make a car payment into my savings account. The goal is buying the next car in cash. I love that, Patty. That is such an awesome way to do it as well. To not be like, oh, now I have this extra money I can spend, but to be like, no, I'm going to still act like I have a car note so that when this car needs to be replaced, I'll have the cash to buy a new one. That would be that's something we should look into doing once these cars are paid off.
Why am I so cold?
I don't know. Why? Do you want to go get the heater and plug it in on you? Maybe. But yeah, that would be great. And I feel sometimes I'm like, gosh, why did we do this? Why have we been getting in this like routine of having a car payment? Because it really was travel. It really was for a while where, the car, like honestly, I had a car that was within 2 payments of being completely paid off. And I was like, but I want a new car. I was like, why did I make that decision? I mean, I love my new car, but I'm like, I could have gone all this time without a car payment, and that would have been so nice.
Right. But I do like your car.
Yeah, I do. But I'm like, but now that we both work for home, there's really no reason to just trade it in because, now we're done paying it off. We can just trade it in and get a new one. Like, no, we're not.
Drive it till the wheels fall off.
Right. We're only driving it basically once a week. Like, we don't need to have because this is going to be like a brand new car because we rarely drive it.
Right.
And, for a while when he was really working basically on the road, it kind of made sense to then trade his truck in and get a new truck because he was putting so many miles on it and so much wear and tear, especially in construction zones, because how many times were you always getting a nail in your tire?
Right.
Because of that, because of always being out there in the construction area. It was just
the truck before this, the one I had, the hinge actually broke off the door. I had to get it replaced. I opened the door that many times getting in and out of the truck.
Right. Yeah. There was things like that. And just getting dinged up all the time. Yes. Like your windshields, like here in Houston, y'all, like the windshield people just love Houston area because you could be out driving and it could be a brand new car and boom, a rock hits your windshield because somebody didn't have their stuff tied down properly, because they don't care about that here. They don't make people have everything tied correctly down. So yeah, you could be driving around and a rock hits your windshield. And how often did that happen to you?
Several times.
Yeah. Because especially when the more you're driving and the longer you go. So most of the time when he was working construction, we lived on the north side, but he would have to travel to the south side. So he's driving an hour or so each day just to get to and from where he starts and in the thick of all the traffic. So guess what would happen?
Because it's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen.
Right. And now, since we both work from home, really, we're just going out to the grocery store. So we don't travel that much into actually Houston anymore.
Try not to.
22Q Cat said, yes, no car payment is wonderful. I save the money up, save, and then buy my cars with cash. Nothing super fancy, but they're always brand new cars. That is awesome. That is an ultimate goal, is to just do that. Like, get a car that's even 1 or 2 years old, whatever, just as long as it's still working and does well, then yeah. And then not having that car payment, I mean, that's just the best. Elstridge said, I need to up my water today. I have labs tomorrow and I have a hard time with my veins. Oh, I am the same way. Like my veins very much float or roll. They never can find them. But yeah, you're supposed to up that, and your electrolytes is what I've heard helps, is, really drink 2 or 3 electrolyte drinks today. And then that'll help also with the veins. But, she said, so no more coffee today. Oh, that's so hard, right? But at least it's already afternoon.
Right.
So hopefully you already got some in today, this morning. But it's going to be hard on Maitreya's Coffee Talk, right? Because does anybody else feel this way? When you watch Coffee Talk, do you suddenly crave having coffee?
No.
Well, I know you don't. I do. I'll be watching it and I'm like, oh man, I really want some coffee now. Mama Bear Lynette. Hey Lynette. She said, good afternoon. I'm just listening in while I hand sew lace on a wedding dress. Oh, how beautiful. I won't really be able to look at the comments, but I will enjoy hearing this discussion.
Aww.
That's so awesome, Lynette. Thanks for stopping in. But oh, wow. That's so nice. Yeah, we're just discussing, and what I kind of brought up earlier is, when it comes to your financial, make sure, or your finances, make sure you're making goals, like attainable, actionable goals, because otherwise you'll kind of get into saving and then you'll be like, oh, but yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and buy this, just $100, right? And you start giving excuses because
100 here, 100 there.
Right. And you look and you see the balance in your savings and you're like, oh, I can afford it now. But if you have an actionable goal, you could be like, yeah, I can afford that now, but I really want to meet this goal. Like, I really want this goal to happen. So my 12-week goal is to have the taxes already saved up. So then I don't have to be sweating about that the rest of the year. And then I'm also hoping to have enough saved so that then in April, I can do the blown in insulation.
Yes.
So actually today, probably after this live, I want to see if I could walk into the attic. I was looking at it the other day. What?
None?
I was looking at it the other day and I was like so scared, to figure out how to get off of the ladder into the attic. But I think I was looking at it this week when we had it open and I'm like, I think I wasn't looking at it correctly. And I think now it shouldn't be an issue.
What if when you get to the top of the stairs, you take my cane and use that to help you off the ladder?
Maybe. I think after looking at it, I don't think it's as tumultuous. How do you say that word? But I don't think it's going to be as a struggle as I thought it was. I think I was just envisioning it different. And then when I was looking at it, I'm like, okay, yeah, you can do that, Shelly. So I want to do that and see if I can get in there. I have already, I was looking at local companies. So if we do pay someone, I at least want somebody out to give me a quote. Yeah. So I contacted someone and they haven't reached out yet, but then they'll come out and they give me a quote. And I'm hoping they'll also measure, but at least kind of researching it, I know what questions to ask them. And I know whether it's a good deal. Like I can compare, because some of the comments I was reading on the one company I reached out to, and I'll reach out to more, but I saw on some of their reviews, somebody said that they were looking into doing it themselves. And then when they got the quote from them, they're like, okay, it's actually worth paying them and not having to do it. Well, he always says that, but I'm more of a do-it-yourselfer, because
usually when it makes sense.
Usually it makes sense to do it yourself. But I'm going to, I want to know, I've already priced out with Home Depot how much it would be for the blown in stuff and figuring out, how to do it and everything. I know we could do that. But I want to see what the price difference would be if somebody else did it. And I want to know that I can actually get in the attic so that I can look at the work after it's done, right? And not be like, oh, okay, sure, I'll take your word at it. No, I want to be able to get in there and confirm they did what they did.
Yeah, because with my mobility issues, I still don't feel comfortable getting up there.
Right. L Strange said she's got 3 cups in the tank. Oh, that's awesome. This is my first cup of the day. But my cups, when you say 3 cups, my cups are about 16 ounces is a cup for me. Like,
tell them what happened to Dutch.
Oh, goodness, y'all. Last night we went to Dutch as we were right there. We went to Aldi, and I didn't go earlier in the day. We went to Dutch, and I was like, okay, I want, my large hot drink. Well, then when she came, when we were there, now I'm not doing tipping for them because I'm like, it's a drive-through. Why do I need to tip all of those? So I kind of stopped tipping there because I'm like, all they're doing is taking my order, right? And so I don't know if that kind of made the girl mad because I didn't tip. But anyway, she handed me my drink, and I said, this isn't a large. And she said, yes, it is. And I'm like,
snooty about it, too.
Yeah, she got snooty, and she goes, thank you, ma'am. Like, she was ready for me to go. So I rolled around, and I'm like, I know this is a medium. I know this is not a large.
Not even a medium.
And I looked and then finally found the little code numbers. And I'm like, yeah, the code number, this is a medium. And I even Googled it and everything to double check. I'm like, I just know. So I pulled back around. And then when she came out, I said, yeah, this is a medium. This is not a large like I paid for. And she's like, oh, okay, sorry. Yeah, here, let me ring it up. And I'll have it as a replacement. Because I was already on like the Dutch. I was ready to email Dutch headquarters. And so they made me a replacement. She goes, I'll have it listed as a replacement for you. I was like, okay. So she must have known I was already Googling, right? So I got my replacement. And yeah, the regular medium is just the plain Dutch, but their large is the holiday design. And I'm like, that's right. And I like looked at them side by side. I said, see, that's the difference. L Strange said, always make coffee, even if she is having tea. Right. Even the tea, I'm just like, but I really want coffee. Patty said, I'm not an addict person. Never seen ours, never plan to. Right. It is kind of daunting, right? To go up into the attic. I'm like, oh my goodness.
That's why I'm really jealous the way my grandfather built his house.
Right, because he did it like a regular stairs.
Well, because he built a whole area on the above his garage, and it's like a lounge area. It was big enough. He had a sectional couch up there. A whole it was a full bathroom and a little kitchenette, and he had a pool table up there for us. Or for us, but up there. But then off the side of that, the rest of the house was his attic. And you just walk in the door and go into, it's like you're walking into a closet.
I mean,
that's awesome.
Well, that's the advantage when you build your own home, right? Because you can build it to your lifestyle, right? You could be like, now I'm going to need easy access to
instead
this
of
attic.
you fold down the ladder and climb it up. You just walked up the stairs to get to the second floor, and you just walk through that door into your attic.
That's nice.
It was awesome.
Patty said, you should film your attic adventure. You're so cute that you think I'm going to be able to stand and do stuff in the attic and hold a phone.
Well, we got that one little tripod.
Yeah, but still, how am I going to? I am not an acrobat.
We should get you one of those headlamps.
Oh my gosh.
The camera's on it.
Patty
but we can't buy it because there's no spend.
Patty said, right, I don't tip for coffee, so thank you. Yeah, because, I mean, they make you feel guilty, don't they? Like when they turn it around, because I have it set up in the app. Because in the app, they even say, hey, why don't you turn on, like all the time I get notifications, turn on auto tip. And I'm like, no. And then I did check it because I'm like, well, are they underpaying their staff? No, they actually get at least minimum wage, if not more. So I'm like, I get it at a restaurant because we know that waiters and so forth don't even get minimum wage, right? They get a small amount. But I was like, but you're actually getting paid minimum wage. I wouldn't be tipping the person at Walmart who's the cashier. Like, I'm not going to tip her. How are you any different?
Just like when we go to a barbecue joint.
Yeah.
It's counter serve, and they still want to tip there too.
I know. What am I tipping at this barbecue to go? So what do you all do for to go restaurants? And this was actually, I saw somebody else discuss this on their channel about, okay, like if I sit down at a restaurant, yes, I definitely tip because, you're there, you're waiting on me and so forth. I'm going to give you a good tip. But if I'm doing a to go or a coffee or a drive through, I don't
counter serve.
Right. Or counter serve. I don't see the point in tipping on those because I don't know. To me, I don't feel like I'm getting actual service.
Right.
I feel like you're doing your job, which is either an order taker or that. Like you're not providing service. You're just taking my order. 22 Cat said 1 cup is 8 ounces, but I love your new coffee mask, Shelly. 16 ounces it is. I understand that technically a cup is 8 ounces, but to me, coffee is not measured that way because it's dependent upon the size of your mug. And so this is a 16-ounce mug. So that to me is 1 cup of coffee.
That's my logic with the bags of pork rinds.
Oh,
the
right.
1 bag is 1 serving.
Like, no, this is a cup of coffee. So when I say I'm having a cup of coffee, it's dependent on my actual mug size. So can you imagine just having a little 8-ounce mug? Like, that sounds so sad.
It's like a sample.
Mom Bear Lynette said, I actually go up in my attic all the time. I have to go up for 2 reasons. First, I pour bleach down into the metal panel under the AC unit so it doesn't grow mold and mildew. Yes, and that's one thing we learned from Brian is it's a disinfecting soap, isn't that?
I think so.
Was it disinfecting?
Sure.
Anyways, it's a special soap we bought off of Sam's that he was like, no, this is what you do. And it cleans. So you keep it in the condensation pan for that. And then as it drains into the pipe, it'll clean that as well. So gunk isn't built up in the pipe. And he was like, yeah, I just go up there like twice a year and pour 1/4 of a cup in there. And then that keeps everything clean and running and not building up. But I was like, these are things like nobody told me, when it comes to basic maintenance of things. And especially of the AC unit. So yeah, for ours, I don't have to necessarily go all into the attic. I only have to go up the stairs about halfway. And right there is the condensation pan. And I can just pour it right there. So I don't have to go into my attic to do that, which is nice. And she goes, I do that approximately every 6 months or so, more often in summer. That's what he told us, like twice a year. So he said like usually in April, like right before, the heat really hits, and then do it again like in November, after the summer, so that you're kind of preventing it and then cleaning up after it. And then also one thing I set up and I put into the budget as well is buying the stuff to clean the outside unit every year as well. So cleaning that also in April. So basically when spring comes around is where we're going to be doing a lot of maintenance. Right. So we'll be getting out there and cleaning. And I felt like that was such an accomplishment, us doing it ourselves.
Yeah.
And now we know how to do it. And then now all we'll have to buy is the $10 can to clean it out every summer or every spring rather.
Right.
So I feel like that's just a huge benefit, being able to do that yourself. Batty said, laugh out loud skills. I have confidence in you. You're so cute. Yeah, confidence. Why did Shelly end up with a broken leg? Well, I was trying to balance the camera. Lynette said, I also have to go up multiple times a week in the heat of summer because my attic is over the garage and it gets way too hot. And as a safety measure, the hot water heater pilot goes out.
Oh, no.
Oh, wow. Now, I don't know. I think our pilot is built into it.
Mm-hmm.
Where ours isn't actually. I know like some people I saw, because when I was looking on how to wrap the water heater, like some people were like, oh, you got to make sure it doesn't fall here because of the pilot. And I saw where some people have to actually light theirs, but ours is encased.
Speaking of, do we need to keep that wrap on the electric one?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, I would say probably at the end of February when we know we're officially out of cold season,
Mm-hmm.
then we can just unplug it.
Okay.
There's no reason to unwrap it all the time. We'll just unplug it, and it's self-regulating. So it only comes on if it detects it getting so cold. And Lynette said, it's a safety precaution, but I really need to do is hire a roofing company to make holes in the roof to let the excessive heat out so the water heater stays on. It's weird. Oh, wow.
That's really weird because I figured your house, because it's not that old. I figured her house would have been already done that way.
Right. Because Brian was explaining, because Brian's like the person we consider our expert handyman. He knows how to do it all. And he was telling, because I was like concerned with doing the blown in insulation. Like, do I need to buy the special tools to make sure that there's the airflow on the eaves? And he's like, no, look, you just have to learn how to aim when you're blowing it in. He's like, he said, that's going to be really difficult to get into the corners to put all those in. He's like, it's not, and you don't really need those.
It's not that critical.
Right. And he's like, because he said, you have several eaves open there. So if, one gets a little, maybe you oversprayed on that one, the rest is going to make up for it. And he said, you'll be fine. So I was like, okay. And then he also convinced, because I was like, oh, I'm going to get the highest amount of insulation, an R60. And he was like, look, you do not need 5 feet of insulation. He's like, wherever your beam's in, which is usually about 12 inches, that's where you cap it off. You don't need to get above the 12 inches, because his reasoning was, if you ever need to do anything in your attic, you want to be able to walk those beams and get to where you need to get. And if you're covering it above that, then you won't be able to see where the beams are. And I was like, oh, that makes sense. So that was also a relief, because it's like, okay, so I don't need like R60. And he was like R20 to R30. He said, that's going to be sufficient. And he was like, the other thing is, when you get the fiberglass, it's basically for life. He's like, because he said the cellulose will tend to break down and get smaller over time, but he's like, the fiberglass, it's not like it. If you put in R20, it's going to be R20. And I was like, oh, I like that even better, knowing that, hey, this isn't something that every 5 years I need to go in and put new insulation. That no, when you do the blown in fiberglass, it's there. So I like that. Lisa said, I don't have any 8-ounce mugs. Right. I'm like, where do you get these 8-ounce mugs?
Those are like baby bottles, aren't they?
I don't even know. I'm like, do people even sell those? I mean, I have espresso cups, but an 8-ounce mug, like where? I mean, to me, I have a couple mugs that are maybe 12 ounce, and that to me feels like that's trial size. I'm like, now I've got to drink 2 of these because 12 ounces, what's that going to get me? She said, thank goodness, right? Patty said, I wonder what size coffee mugs other countries have. Right. I mean, that's probably true. I'm sure in Italy and in France, they are the smaller mugs, but they also drink, a lot of other countries don't drink like an Americano like we would. Basically, they drink more of an espresso, and that's their drink, which that makes sense. If you are just having an espresso, yeah, you're not going to be having 16 ounces of espresso, except if you're a crazy person.
That's why I love that Rafi made that about the Cuban coffee.
Right.
A little bit. He says, no, bring me about 15 of them. Okay.
That was hilarious. 22Q Cat said, an 8-ounce coffee would be for Barbie, right? And Patty said, I think I own one that is 8 ounce. The rest are bigger. And you're like, what do I do with this 8-ounce coffee mug? Brenda said, there is a tax refund for spring maintenance. Oh, okay. I'll have to look for that and see what the deadline is. I know they do offer certain like rebates or refunds, as far as like a lot of it's like the windows or doing energy efficient windows. That might be something we do eventually. But I was looking at the ROI on it, the return of investments, and they're like, really, if you just caulk your windows, you're not going to have a huge savings by replacing, especially this old house, replacing all of it with the most up-to-date windows. Like, just make sure that they're caulked.
And we had those windows replaced not too long ago anyways, the ones in the front.
Yeah, I have had, due to circumstances, right? Like, when it happens. So one of them on our back porch here, somebody lit the barbecue grill, and when they opened it up, the heat of the hood, when it touched the cold glass, cracked all the way down. So we had to replace that.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And
it's
so
like sand art.
So since we replaced it, then I did replace it with an energy efficient window. And the same thing, our front bay windows, we had to replace that because I forgot how they got broke. There was like 2 or 3 that got broke, remember?
I don't remember how it happened either.
Might have been a storm.
Yeah.
So, and there's probably, I would say that really helped. And then there's the other windows here at the corner. Eventually I would like to, because those are really, really old original, and they get a lot of direct sun. So if we could change that, I think that would be beneficial in the long run. But a lot of these windows, like this one right here, I don't think it needs to be changed out. Just make sure it's caulked well.
Right.
But that one that does get a lot of direct sun, I think that would end up paying off in the long run, getting it replaced.
Yes.
And getting a very high energy efficient window there, just because it does get a direct amount of light. Lynette said, Heath is correct. My house is not even 14 years old, and I don't think everybody in the neighborhood has this problem, but my attic gets way too hot. Oh my gosh. I think a better long-term solution for me is to get a tankless water heater and have that installed in the garage, so I don't have to keep going to attic. Yes. 100%. Let me know if anybody else here has a tankless water heater. I knew someone who he paid when he got his new house. He paid to do it, but it was like $8,000. I mean, we're going back, like 15 years. So I don't know what
first generation on those.
Right. I don't know how much they are nowadays. I haven't looked into them, but he said that was the best investment he made. He's like, anytime he needs hot water, immediately he has hot water. And
as long as he had power.
Right. And he might have even got a generator. I know Lynette has a generator too, but he said that was one of the best investments he made, was getting a tankless water heater. And he's like, especially here in Texas, he said where they put the water heaters, like it's just not an energy efficient to begin with. So doing the tankless was much better. So that might be something that we look into in the future. Eventually doing that, because especially if yours is in the attic, you're like, that would be so hard to get to. Britta said, no, I mean, the tax refund can be used for spring maintenance. Budget that for that. Right. Well, here's the thing. When it comes to refund, like your tax refund, I know a lot of people look forward to getting a huge refund. Here's my thoughts on refunds, y'all, on tax refunds. In my opinion, for myself, if I'm getting a tax refund, that means I shorted myself during the year and I gave the government a free interest-free loan. So I try to get the refund, and it's been challenging the past few years because of our income just constantly changing. But I try to make sure the refund is less than $500, preferably close to $0. Or even if I owe, like I would like to owe no more than $500. So that's my parameters, $500 either way. Just because to me, a big refund, I could have had that money all year long and put that money into like a HISA and earned a little interest on it other than giving it to the government. That's my deal. So I try not to ever have like a huge refund. Like I know some, my work sister, she like gets excited because she's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get like $2,000 back. And I'm like, wow. I mean, that's nice. And I know some people do that because to them, that's like having a savings that then they get paid out every year. And it just helps them because when I've talked to other people about it, they were like, well, I do that because if I got the extra $10 in every paycheck, well, it's probably more than that because that would only be $260. So they're like, if I got the extra, money, $70 per paycheck, I would just spend it. So this way, on little things, this way I get it all in one lump sum, and then I can use it for my vacation or whatever it is, because they said they just don't have the, I don't want to say willpower, but they don't have the necessary to dedicate it throughout the year, that it's easier for them to have it in one chunk. So let me know how y'all feel about that. Are you someone that you like to have where you manage that and get it all year long, and that way you can put it in your own type of savings fund? Or do you prefer to just be like, you know what, I'm just going to let the government handle this and give me this big refund come, April, and then I can use that for whatever I want, whether it's a vacation. That's what I hear a lot of people use their refunds, is like vacation, which is nice. If you get it in April, book that vacation for the summer, right? Lynette said, are you filing a schedule fee for having a small business? If so, whole home improvements and maintenance is on it. It's always tax deductible if you have a small business at home.
That's true.
That's right. So we do now with the YouTube. We had to file it last year.
What about your Etsy though?
I guess I did a little bit, but I never. So with my Etsy shop, because it used to be on Etsy, you had to sell $20,000 worth in order to get a 1099. And of course, I never made that much on Etsy, right? It was just a side hustle, pure.
It was a hobby.
Right. And so I never made that much to claim it as a small business. But now with Heath's YouTube, last year we did do that, and we did deduct some things. So that would be something we could do too, is deducting when we do like the insulation stuff.
When you charge it up for the studio.
Right. Lynette said, I also think having a tankless water heater is better in the long run for when I sell this house, because I'm going to market it handicapped individuals, and that makes more sense.
Right.
Yes. That is awesome.
Great
Always
idea.
Look ahead, right? Lisa said, insulate the lines for that tankless water heater. In 2021, most of the calls my office took for clients with broken water lines were from tankless water heaters in the attic. Oh, really? Oh, so because I thought we have PEX line now, which is supposed to be a better pipes for water heaters. So you would think if you're going to spend the money on a tankless, you would get the PEX lines and they would be more insulated. But that's a good thing to remember when you do replace it. Patty said, we have been pretty good at our tax refund, being in the neighborhood of $500 for the last multiple years. But we always owe the state. I think everyone always owes them.
That's one good thing, is we don't have a state tax.
Yeah, so that is one thing I do like about Texas, is we don't have to file for state taxes, because we just purely have sales tax. And then I do claim the sales tax for part of my refund or part of my taxes as well. You can put in, so I always put in 8.25% for state taxes, and then that goes towards the federal. But that would suck too. When you have states where you have to file state taxes. Oh, see, I've never had to do that, so I couldn't even imagine what that's like, because that is something my work sister said. If she's like, oh, I was getting this big federal refund, she goes, but I owe the state, I forget, like $200 or $300. I'm like, oh, I forget about that. Oh, that sucks. And Lisa said, I'm taking off. Y'all have a good weekend and keep pinching pennies. Good night, Lisa. Well, I'm sure we'll see you on Coffee Talk in a couple of hours, and we'll probably just be here a couple more minutes, y'all. So if you have any finance questions, I'm certainly not saying I'm a guru when it comes to finances, but any questions, I'll attempt to answer those. Or if you just want to have any thoughts on the no spin, low spin, please let us know now. Lynette said, Schedule C, not Schedule Fee. Stupid. Oh, Schedule C. Yeah, when you file that. Yeah, I think that's what we do. Toy TQ Cat said, nope, I didn't like the idea of giving my money to the government to use all year long. I'd rather have it now and invest it or whatever versus getting a bigger tax refund.
That's why I always say it's my worthless Uncle Sam.
That's how I felt too. But again, I understand everybody's views on it because so my past corporate job, I handled like 401ks and pensions for the 13 years I was there, 14 years, something like that. And I would talk to other people there and they would get so excited around tax time. And I'm like, oh, well, why don't you just, decrease, like, especially like I'm all over the place. But I would tell them that and they're like, no, I like having the big refund because then I can plan to have that for, whether it's a house maintenance or a vacation or, whatever it is, towards a new car, whatever it is. They're like, it just makes it easier. I was like, okay, I get that. But if you don't already know, if you go to irs.gov, you could do a tax estimator. So you'll put in all your information with the IRS. So it's on their website. And they'll tell you, hey, based on this, you just need your latest pay stub. Based on this, if you keep going, this is how much you'll either get as a refund or how much you owe. If you want to have it to where it's like zero out, right? Even here's how you should change your W-2 so that it'll match, right? Or your W-4.
Here's how you fill out your paperwork.
Yeah, and they'll tell you exactly how to fill it out. So that's kind of what I do, especially since like last year, he basically had 3 different jobs last year. So it was a little challenging. This year though, I figure, well, we'll basically have just these 2 and then getting that even out. But I go and use that website again, like in February when I find out what my raise will be, then I like to go on there and redo it based on the new raise so that then I make sure everything's where it's going to be. And plus, like when that happens in February, I'm going to up my 401k again. And then figuring, like if anything changes with him, then, figuring that adjustment and just see where I'm at. It just helps me because it's easier to correct the situation now versus, like November. And then because one year I made a mistake when I filled out Heath's employment paperwork, and I didn't know this because it was whenever he was hired, I put 0 thinking it was like married with 0. Well, however it ended up, and it could have been me, it could have been his HR, they were withholding 0 taxes from all of his paycheck and all of his bonuses. And so, yeah, we ended up owing a couple $1,000s.
That was not fun.
That was not fun, especially when I had planned on it. I was like, well, shoot, if I had known. Patty said, so we take the federal refund to pay the state refund, right? You're like,
Peter
well,
pay Paul, right?
Thanks. Marianne said, no state tax in Florida either. Oh, that's nice. And I think Tennessee is another one. I think Tennessee, Texas, Florida, and I feel like there's a couple others. I think there's 6 or 7. Twinty Kukiat said, you all with no state taxes are making me jealous, right? It is nice. I'm sorry for y'all that have to pay state taxes too. But I just wonder, let me know, since you pay state taxes, what is your sales tax at where you're there, where you live? So like our sales tax is generally 8.25%. So if I buy anything at a store or anything, then automatically I'm charged 8.25% taxes. So do you also have a sales tax on top of your state taxes?
And I wonder if they do the same thing like we're here, where like we go get gas, there's always 2 prices. There's a cash price and a credit price.
Oh, yeah.
If that even matters with that, with taxes.
I don't think that's a tax thing. I think that's just they're basically what they're trying to do is get around the paying the Visa and MasterCard fees. Lynette said, I should be getting 100% refund this year because of all my deductions, plus all my medical bills for 23 were massive.
Right.
And see, that makes a difference though. And that's kind of hard to plan because you don't know with all the things that happened, what was, like how do you can figure that out earlier to make it to where it evens out at tax time? And that was kind of our deal last year, like
Yeah.
with Heath getting unemployment. Like I had taxes withheld from his unemployment, but also, his old job and then this job. And then, so we'll just see where we end up when we file this year. And then plus the YouTube money, figuring all that up and just see what we end up with. So I don't know, this year, as long as I don't owe, I'll be happy, but we'll probably end up getting a bit of it back, I just imagine. But we'll see. Brenda said, no, hers is 6% sales tax in Kentucky. Oh, wow. And Toy TQ Cat said it's Indiana is 7%, and you still have to pay state taxes.
Wow.
Then what?
It's just a cash grab.
Right. That's so crazy. Oh, Patty said sales tax varies from 9 to 9 3/4 depending on the city we buy from, and we pay taxes on groceries, which major sucks.
Wow.
Wow. And you have the, like, what's the point of the sales tax? Because I thought that was my understanding in Texas. We pay a sales tax because we don't pay state. So that's something that you have to pay both. Oh, yeah, that would suck. I guess that's one thing I would have to consider if we ever do move, which sometimes I do like want to move somewhere else, but then there's other times where I'm like, but it's so comfortable.
Right.
Like I would love to live in Colorado, but then it's like, that would be such a change to life, right?
Yes.
Having to deal with all the snow and everything. Patty said, I do know our property taxes are less than Texas.
That might be part of it too.
Okay. Yeah, maybe your property taxes
Because I just figured with all that stuff, there's always a give and take.
Right. Oh, yeah. And I've heard before that some people, like we're in Harris County, I think we're supposed to pay the highest property taxes there is, which every year, like, oh, that was such a hit in December paying those. I'm like, oh, this sucks. Lynette said, taxes suck. That is all. I mean, preach. It really. 22Q Cat said, don't you feel sorry for us? We need a GoFundMe for state taxes. Right? I do feel for you. That's awful. Yeah. But I guess if you do have lower property taxes, then maybe it does even out. So I'm telling you, that was a hit, the property taxes. But I don't know. I guess, you see, I've never looked into it further than that. But, well, this has been fun. I hope y'all enjoyed this little chat. I hope it's like helping you along with your financial challenges, or, challenge sounds like a negative, but you know, your financial budgeting and planning, and whether you're doing the no spend or the low spend January. I hope these little chats have helped. And
what? Yawning?
Yes.
It's a condition.
But I hope y'all enjoyed this. I've definitely enjoyed this for us. I feel like it's kept inspiring us to continue on, because it's like, okay, we can do it, because I got to check in with everyone this week, right?
That's true.
All right. Well, thank you all so much for coming again today. And I know several of you will be at Radical Geeks Coffee Talk this afternoon, or this evening rather. And I guess next Sunday will be the last chat. So is that exciting?
We can always extend it and just chat about something else and keep going on Sundays if you want.
I know y'all have to comment after the live and let us know, is this something we should continue, or do you want your Sundays back? All right, y'all. Thank you so much. Have a wonderful weekend. Stay warm, everyone. Bye.